So if we could either close our eyes or turn our attention inwardly. And welcome our experience just as it is. You don't need to interpret anything. You don't need to recollect anything or try to reach anything. Simply be as you are, as you have always been. This silent and still aware presence. That colors itself as a sensation. As an image, a memory. A thought. Without ever dividing itself. Remaining seamlessly silent and still. The uninterrupted presence, the uninterrupted reality of the moon shining on the surface of the ocean or of the lake. You swim in the ocean. You are the ocean. Uninterrupted. Whole and complete. Beyond any distinctions. Like the breath that we divide in a so-called inhalation and exhalation, while in fact the breath is indivisible, like love and beauty are not divided in a subject and an object. As this presence, which is being, you know yourself as I am, this amness, this beingness, It has no edges, no walls, no boundaries. It resonates in all hearts and appears to all minds as I am. I am. Like the sound of the brook is. In the wide open space of awareness. There is no separation. There isn't an over here and over there. It is one seamless presence. At the mind level, we distinguish between this and that. Which serves a function. But the divisions that apply to the world and to the body do not apply to that which you are. Which is indivisible. Non-phenomenon. And yet absolutely undeniable. Aware presence, transparent, absolute. Is not divisible by any activity of thinking. And yet, if you pay attention to how your mind operates, and if you pay attention to how you cooperate with your mind, you will find that you do indeed make a distinction about yourself, about the reality of consciousness. You do so by selecting a certain aspect of your experience. So you select it and you identify yourself with it as me. And other aspects of your experience you select them to be not me. Most of us erroneously refer to sensations within the body. Select a certain dimension of our sensory realm to refer to as me, my body, my mind. You overlook that you perceive the sunset, the sensations of beauty, the colors, the warmth. You perceive the sunset. In the same way that you perceive the sensation of your belly, the sensation of hunger, or the sensation of satiation. Every sensation has a particular shape and color and form. But although every sensation has a particular shape and form, they are all equal as sensations. Like in an orchestra, the sound of the violin, beautiful vibrations of the strings and the sounds, as well as the sounds of a piano or the oboe. Although they do vary in the way they appear, the way they sound, they are all equal as music, as sounds, as vibrations, as appearances. And the conductor relates with the orchestra and all the music that is arising from all the various instruments as one whole expression. Although each instrument is expressing a particular note, a particular tone, the conductor looks at the orchestra as a whole, all equally significant, equally important, and equal expression. But when you turn your attention to your mind and how you conduct your mind, you will find that you make a major discrimination between certain sensations, certain perceptions that you identify with as me, and some other sensations and perceptions that you refer to as not me. as if the ocean would look at the waves that are arising on that side of the ocean and considers these waves to be me and waves that are appearing on a different side of the ocean, that the ocean would refer to as not me. Notice in this moment, your experience is a whole and complete, seamless. One could say, my entire experience is me, or my entire experience is not me. But it would be a falsehood to take a certain part of your experience to refer to it as a me, and another part of your experience to refer to as not me. As soon as you identify yourself with a segment, you experience yourself as a segment, limited, incomplete, lacking, and hoping and praying for completeness. You overlook that this identification with a limited aspect of your experience is a false identification. And from that point on, you experience a sense of lack and the fear of ending. And you become preoccupied with falsehood, seeking completion, seeking love and happiness in experiences, in relationships, the mind, the world, the body. But when you turn your attention to your experience in this very moment, what is available to you is the understanding and the direct realization that you are this transparent, aware presence, and that there are no bits and pieces, no parts, no aspects of awareness that you could identify as me or not me. Everything that appears to you is a divine expression and that which perceives this divine expression. Is absolute. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure to unmute your mic, and you're welcome to turn on your videos where we can see each other if you care. So any questions?
Hi, dear Magdi. It's Maren here. How are you? Can you hear me?
Magdi, can you hear us? Magdi?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he can hear.
No, he cannot hear us.
Oh, okay. Hello, Holger.
No,
oh,
can you hear us?
I'm not hearing you. Let me see.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, let me see. What am I doing here? You can hear me? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Maybe I go to sounds. No. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll get my earphones and see if that's.
Sure.
Oh, I just heard something. I heard somebody.
Yes. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you now. Oh,
One,
I just needed
1,
to.
2, 3,
Maybe I just needed.
4, 5.
Thank you. Yes, I hear you. Holger.
Good. Mary had a question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Olga. That's very kind. What a gentleman. Hi, Magdi. It's Maren here.
Hello,
I'm from Northern Virginia.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely to see you.
Lovely too. Sorry that I don't have the camera on.
Okay.
Magdi, I wanted to ask you, I've been a long-time student of non-duality, as you know, and I was recently exploring Frances Lucille's, welcoming technique about when several things arise, to welcome them, but stay present at the same time and just not identify them, because otherwise we do identify with that particular, just like you just said. And so not name it, not say this is fear arising, this is grief arising or whatever, but stay aware at the same time while giving no resistance and welcoming it, and that then kind of like in doctrine, it will kind of arise, it will stay a little bit and then subside again.
Yes.
But somehow it doesn't seem to make much sense to me here, this particular technique, because I'm not able to. It's like, if I follow the direct path and I first identify as already pure consciousness, pure awareness, then anything that arises within that is seen in its rightful image, like you described. But if I do it the other way around and I let something arise, I find it very hard to then bring awareness back, because I'm kind of starting with a wrong premise. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And I'm dealing with a seeming multitude of things at the moment, like strong grief here, almost every friend of mine going through huge issues, life-changing things, and I'm trying to hold the space lovingly for everybody, and so I'm trying to find some clarity there. And
Yes.
And you're the best birthday gift.
Yes.
I just happened to go on Facebook to apologize to everybody that I have been tardy lately with responding, and then I saw that you were holding satsang. So thank you very much. Namaste to everybody.
Yes, Maureen. So if what works for you is to simply remain as awareness, or sort of notice I awareness, and that everything that's appearing is appearing to I awareness, if that approach is an approach that works for you, then that's just excellent. You don't need to sort of focus on whatever is appearing and sort of work on not labeling it, etc. Whatever approach works for you is fine. So, but I'm wondering if you do already have an approach where whatever arises is arising within awareness. Therefore, and awareness is obviously not disturbed, because if there is a disturbance, then we need to take a look at whether we have a misunderstanding at that moment about awareness. But
yes, that is the case. Sometimes it works so all-embracing that the love that I am and the pure awareness that I am just almost transmutes everything into its right essence back again.
Yes,
right substance.
Yes.
And other times, when something arises and when there's no resistance and I welcome it, but I notice then also that there's a slight identification with a witness which is still dualistic, which is observing this arising, and then there's falling back into a particular identification rather than awareness. And so there's confusion as to what is the best approach to burn these things once and for all.
In terms of the witnessing, awareness is effortlessly witnessing. It's not doing any witnessing. It is by its very essence transparent to whatever is appearing. It's like in your night dream, whatever appears in your night dream, you're witnessing it, but it's just effortless, because in fact, that which is appearing to you in your night dream and you, the dreamer, are not two. So similarly, in terms of the witnessing, it's not if there is an identification with witnessing, then there is somebody who is doing an activity. And whatever is doing an activity would be the false self.
Exactly, that's what our friend dear Greg Good also says in Standing as Awareness, that the witnessing awareness is still as dualistic as the Eiffel Tower, as he kind of puts it.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering how to go beyond that. I used to live beyond that until a lot of trauma came seemingly into this life, and trying to unbundle it. And you were hugely helpful with that. Thank you.
Well, all is well until something is off. So we really don't need to be taking our stand as anything as long as all is well.
Right.
So here we are having conversation, all is well. At some moment, possibly, there is something that gets disturbed. We notice a certain feeling, a certain emotion maybe. And we also notice that the mind now is sort of spinning, looking for an answer, looking for a solution. So this is the moment where we take a look. And whenever there is a disturbance, meaning a certain contraction, a feeling, an emotion, at that moment, we have separated, there is a separation. Meaning at that moment, there is me, Magdi, my mind, my person, my history, my ideas about the world, etc., and whatever I am perceiving. I may be perceiving friends who are going through a lot of hardship. It's a perception. And of course, I have a sympathy and love for them, okay, which is very sweet. There is no issue with love, having love and compassion and empathy and sympathy for my friends and for the world in general is beautiful. There's no issue. The issue is when there is suffering. When there is suffering, there is at that moment a position that I am taking as Maureen, as somebody else, as somebody, as a personal self, as a person. So it's happening, meaning suffering is on board, okay? So there's nothing that we need to fix because it's already on board. The milk is spilled, it's already on board. But what we could do at that moment is...
So who do these sufferings arise, right? I mean, the suffering per se is not the problem, is it? It's that there's this seemingly personal mind to which it appears.
Right, it's already on board. There's already a contraction. There's already, there's already some form of suffering arising. But what's available to us is, rather than focus on fixing the suffering, is to understand.
Yes.
We can come to an understanding. And the understanding is the following, that suffering is the result of a falsehood. Suffering is a falsehood about suffering. We are imagining that there is a separate me and a separate world, that we're imagining that there is something separate in the universe. In fact, the entire universe is one realm, is one cosmic realm that is moving. So in the ocean, there are waves. There are waves that may arise, some 2 foot tall, some 10 foot tall. The falsehood is to imagine that there is something separate from the ocean, that this wave is separate from the ocean, therefore it should be a better wave, a shorter wave, a no wave. This is the falsehood. Yeah. So the falsehood is in imagining that I refers to Maureen, refers to this person, refers to a body-mind.
Okay.
That we can notice, because we notice it because there is suffering. When there is suffering, there has to be somebody who's suffering, meaning somebody that is wanting things to be different, or is wanting to bring in a different situation. Now, we may be engaged, and we may engage in improving the situation, but without suffering. For example, we notice that the milk has spilled. We don't need to make a big trauma about it. We don't need to accuse or blame somebody about it. We can just clean it. So that is taking action that is resulting in the moment, not out of a sense that there is something good or bad. There is a situation. All situations are in a way equal. Your friends going through a very hard time, is equal to the sun shining on the surface of the lake. It's equal because they are all cosmic events.
Right.
This does not mean that you cannot engage in some activities with your friends to bring to them some solace or to express to them your love. But when you perceive that there is something wrong, you need to take a look at that. Because whenever you are perceiving something wrong, you are finding fault with God. You're finding fault with the universe. You're finding fault with the cosmos. There is, to find fault with the cosmos is erroneous.
Yes, it's never justified.
It is erroneous, right? Because at that moment, you have separated yourself from the universe while you are the universe.
Exactly.
When you separate yourself from the universe, you may like some parts of the universe and you may dislike some other parts of the universe. And that's a falsehood.
Yeah, like California versus Germany, where I'm stuck. I'm still stuck in Germany, and I'm so missing California, and I know it's a preference running, and I'm trying to let it go and surrender it, and somehow there's strong resistance to resist.
I understand. Well, in cases like that, what I usually do is I'm aware that I would love to be in California, and so I'm open to that. I'm just like, it'd be really beautiful to be in California, for example. I'm open to that. But in the meantime, there is tremendous beauty where I am. There is tremendous love where I am. There is tremendous unfolding where I am. There are relationships. There is body-mind activities. So once you find the peace where you are, irrespective of where that is, and you are open to what's arising for you, you'd love to be in California, you're not blocking the energy. It's quite different from, I cannot stand it here, or I don't like it too much here. In that way of being with presence, you are you're blocking the flow. So
you're right. Wherever we are, we walk on holy ground, and
yes,
only ever this moment, which is brand new and nothing has ever even happened.
Absolutely. And the love is flowing through us.
Yes.
In Germany, in wherever we are. And so because it's a flow of love and we love California, the flow of love will take us to California, or it may take us to Hawaii. It'll take us. So it's a flow. And so that's how I am with those, things that I love. Like I would love to go visit, India. So it would be nice, So it's being open in the moment. And when I'm open in the moment, I am not blocking anything here, you see.
Yeah. And thank you very much. This is very lucid and very clear. And would you say that the false identification with a personal mind is kind of the denial of call it God or call it pure consciousness, and can only arise kind of like an absence, and so everything within it is false, basically.
Yes, it's a denial.
Kind of like Plato's cave, like one just sees the shadows instead of being in the light.
Yes. It's a denial of the wholeness, of the flow, of the love, of all what is shining through us and to us. When we sort of identify as anything, and then there is a judgment, there is the good and the bad. It's overlooking the wholeness, overlooking the love, overlooking the peace, overlooking the beauty, overlooking the intimacy, overlooking the interconnectivity, overlooking how we are flowing back and forth with each other. No, instead we've built some sort of edge or some sort of barriers around ourselves. We've defined ourselves. When we define ourselves, we're no longer the love. The love isn't flowing. It has to jump over the fence,
Yeah.
So any identification is not necessary. You can live with a lot of intelligence, making distinctions. I want this, prefer this. I say yes to this, no to that, without any identification, because the flow is not blocked. Because the flow is not blocked, then the river, is flowing, and it sees this branch of the riverbed, and it flows in that branch because it is more amenable. It's the right angle, the right shape, the right. So all what is needed for us to live in peace and happiness and intelligence and wisdom and love is available to us until we identify ourselves. Then we are sort of compressed back in the wholeness, the totality is compressed back into the thoughts and the feelings. And we become sort of a web of thoughts and feelings that we're trying to sort of find our way out of and step out of. And you cannot step out of the emotions and the thoughts and the feelings from within the web. You have to sort of see that you don't need to define yourself at all. That which you are, that which perceives this perception right now, that which hears these words right now, is there. It's effortless, and it's borderless. It's transparent. It's has no edges, and it's God's light shining through you and as everything.
Yes, that is usually the experience. And may I just ask one more question? If it seems something is an impenetrable obstacle, and in this case it is the State Department wanting to give me 15 to 20 vaccinations in order to return back to the US, and this body here had too many flying worldwide as an aviator for many, many years, and it's just not an option, and a number of bureaucratic issues, like where they say it's 50-50 whether one is being let back into the country. If it's up to the discretion of the immigration officer, if not, one is put in a jail and then sent back all the way here. And when when it seems really, really solid and impossible, even though nothing is impossible with God or with in the universe, is it best to surrender the wish altogether and just like give all glory to pure awareness or to God, and just stay there and surrender any strong desires and let them either burn up or fulfill themselves?
I don't think that you will find peace and happiness in sort of a resignation, but at the same time, there is the easiest path for you in the moment. Whatever flows whatever seems the easiest path, you want to look in that direction, the simplest. Now, the mind in general complicates things, especially when we are identified in whatever way we are identified. Every situation has its own data, has its own set of information. The challenge is to be able to look at the information objectively. And that's quite a challenge because we may have some past influences that affect our capacity to sort of look at data freshly and as objectively as possible. Now, in many cases, especially in the case I think that you're describing, it is very complex. There is a lot of data, a lot of information, a lot of theories, and one finds, you may find yourself sort of as if you're on a seesaw. You don't know which way.
It's immensely frustrating. Like while you were speaking, there were just 4 emails from our friend Peter Francis Jubin coming in, you know, and he always writes like, let's get you back to California, you know, we need to visit all our friends in Temecula and so on. And and there's this sense of frustration then, well, how?
Yes.
And usually I let the how, you know, I leave it all to the universe and just tend to this present moment as the awareness.
But you are the universe. You know, when you say I leave it to the universe, you are part of the universe. I mean, you are, you're an active aspect of the universe. So there are certain thoughts and perceptions and ideas that come to you, and you need to also take that in consideration as part of the universe. So
not with the whole universe.
I'm sorry?
Isn't the whole universe us?
Yes, the whole universe is you, including whatever thoughts, you know. I don't want to exclude the dynamic aspect that is arising, you know, to you via thoughts and emails received by friends. All what's appearing to you is universal and cosmic. So in the case that you are presenting, my recommendation would be to go with the simplest, whatever is the easiest, whatever flows the more fluid path, without like this personal concern. I mean, sometimes there may be a fear that may not be rational, right? It may be from some past echo that may be getting in the way of going with the flow. Now, the way when it comes to the COVID thing and all of this vaccination, you know, issue, there are so many opinions, so many theories, so many ideas, and if you take a look at all of that, either you become completely confused or you make a decision. I'm going to go with this camp or that camp. In my case, I go with the flow, whichever way the overall the bigger picture is going, I go with that. Just because
there's no fear about that vaccination. It's just that the State Department says they really want to give one 15 to 20 vaccinations in addition in order to be allowed to even travel back. And I might never see my country again. I never had closure. I never had a goodbye.
15 to 20 vaccinations, is that a
yes. And because I used to, you know, fly around the world for many, many years, I had vaccinations every 3 to 6 months against everything. So I'm allergic now to them.
Mm-hmm.
And this body cannot tolerate, this body is healing from lupus. And it cannot tolerate 15 to 20 vaccinations. So there's the major point of possibly never seeing my home again, possibly never seeing the United States again. And
couldn't you get some medical exemption, given that in your case
they don't care? They really don't care about. It's the same rules for everybody. And I kind of had to make the hard choice but it wasn't a choice, because I chose to care for my dying dad. And at that point, to just hold this loving presence and be there for him, I didn't even think about the ramifications for the rest of my life. It wasn't a choice. It was choiceless. I just showed up for my dad.
How about
and
traveling?
I kind of majorly sabotaged in that way.
How about traveling to a different country and flying from a different country to the States? Is that in other words, if you leave Germany for, I don't know, France or Italy or whatever, and fly to the States, from a different country, is that an option you've looked at? Is that?
Not really. We were raised very strictly. All three girls emigrated to different countries, and our dad was very sentimental. He was German. He said to keep the German passport. So instead of having the US ones that I could have had 30 years ago, I just have the permanent green card. And now the State Department says, at the consulate, that anybody who has overstayed on their green card they don't care for what reason. They say it's 50-50 whether they ever let one back in. And if one has a permanent green card, it's even less likely that one is let back in, even if one can prove one has a flat here, which one would need to dissolve, and one has a return ticket and wants to come for a visit to have closure and to see one's friends again. But they said it's 50-50, and it's up to the mood of the immigration officer. And it seems like kind of in the past there, I wasn't conscious enough. I was just tending to one thing so fully.
When is the last time you went to the consulate and tried to?
I spoke to them numerous times, and they all confirmed. And I had a free consultation with an immigration officer, attorney, and they said it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So there's this thing of I might have to come to terms with the fact that I might never see my country again.
Well, this COVID thing is it's not gonna last forever. Okay, it's gonna sooner or later would be on the other side of this. So if for the time being this is a situation, it's not going to be a situation that's going to be that's going to last for that long. I feel that there is great interest in getting over this situation, and there are a lot of resources being put in that direction. So
yes, everybody working together. Beautiful.
So hopefully this would be this hysteria that's gone on up to now we will get on the other side of this soon. So maybe in this case, just being patient and waiting for this situation to sort of get less in the front, less upfront. And
that's the best advice. Thank you so much. And
hopefully,
would you say in your experience that if there's a burning desire in one's heart,
yes,
like a while back I was in a Christian circle, like, while I was grieving, I kind of fell into that, even though that's not really my thing, but no judgment, for the time it was right at that point. And somebody, a guest speaker, a pastor from London, came onto the Zoom call and said, is there anybody who needs prayer, and I spontaneously raised my voice, and out of my heart came, out of all the things I could have prayed for, it could have been, please stop mom's Tourette's, please, let me find love again, or this or that, but it was like, please let me just return home. Like, I just want to go home to America. And he was very surprised. He was like, what do you want to do in America? Like, Europe is great. And I was like, no, Germany is very heavy. It feels very dense. And I don't identify with anything here.
Yes. So, remain open in that direction, that okay, you know, this is the direction that you love, this is where you would like to be. This, in the meantime, of course, in the
Would you
meantime,
like, I'm so sorry, my last question basically is just, would you say if there is a strong desire running and one has done everything to surrender it, to let it go, to just be at peace wherever one is, and usually that happens, but it arises again and again and again and again, and it will not go away, would you say that then it has inherently the potential for its fulfillment in it, because there's not, for example, the desire to be an Olympic athlete? You know, it's a very specific desire.
well, you know, all desires that are coming through us, not from us, they're coming through us. They're impersonal desires. They're desires that arise out of, we don't know what, out of love, out of interest, not out of to improve myself or to save myself. You know, desires that are impersonal. They,
yes, no, in this case, it is to be most effective because you know, that's where my career is, that's where my job is, where I shine my light most brightly, where I resonate with everything.
Absolutely, yes. So these impersonal desires, they're bound to be fulfilled. They may not get fulfilled exactly in the way the mind is figuring them out, but they will be fulfilled in the right direction, in the direction of love and beauty and freedom and joy, not just for, of course, for yourself, but for the whole, yes. So this is what I'm saying, be watchful that in your life right now you do not personify that which is impersonal. So remain open to that love, to the interest, to go to California, without making it a condition upon your happiness.
I will do. Thank you. That is hugely helpful. Okay. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Lovely to speak with you and to be with you this week.
You too.
Okay.
Like you said, we always thought it would be in the woods of Northern Virginia, but now yes. So the universe has its ways.
You know, right now this is the virtual realm. You know, that's we are grateful for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, lovely.
And 1 minute ago, my birthday started, so you're the biggest gift, you all. Thank you.
Birthday. Oh, wonderful.
I was gonna not celebrate this year, but it turned out the universe is so good and did want to celebrate with you all. So
wonderful. Happy
bless you all. Lots of light and love to everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sincerely.
And Helga wrote something here, yeah? Okay.
Oh, you're so cute, everybody. Love you all. Love you. Love you.
Okay.
Oh. Thank you. Oh gosh, I'm sorry that I even mentioned it. Bless you.
Yes. Any questions? Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. I just wanted to share. Your meditations feel like a composition. I mean, like a piece of music or something. It's just such joy to listen to it and to just come back again to my natural state, to just recalibrate my confused identity and just to become clear again. And that this is such a gift for me. And then there's this blame towards myself that I should do this, that I should be able to do this myself.
Uh-huh. What do you mean by myself?
like instead to get to this point of clarity and peace,
yes,
I should be able to walk myself back to this place.
yes, 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 yes. I see. Yes, yes. Well,
Instead to just be like a passive consumer, I should be able to. This is just ideas in my head.
Right.
Yes.
But you are it already.
Whenever there is an object and a subject, there is the impression of distance or of something lacking. So you see that. So it's not when there is an experience that, oh, I am missing this experience, or I had this experience and it'd be nice to have it again, for example. There is a distance, which of course is not a real distance, it's just at the mind level. We've separated ourselves. There is a subject and an object, you see. So when the object and when the subject and the object are one, the only way the subject and the object are one is in presence, not in thought. In thought, there is whatever compositions are composed. But in presence, meaning this moment of presence, it's really not something in time, but as presence, there is no more subject or object. It's just presence, you see. And if you think about it, presence is already, it's there. It's never, there's never such a thing as an absence of presence, you see. And presence is not like, oh, I'm having an experience of presence. It's not like that. When I'm having an experience of something, I am sort of objectifying an experience, whichever way I'm objectifying it. And also I'm objectifying somebody who's having this experience. But that's at the mind level. It may be helpful at the mind level. I am cooking a meal. But in terms of happiness or peace and happiness, love, there isn't an object and a subject. The object and the subject are merged as one. That's in love and beauty, in happiness. You are transported. The you is dissolved in the love or in the beauty. When you are standing in front of a brook and you're listening to the sound of the brook, you are not there. Maybe afterwards you say, oh, it was very lovely to listen to the brook or listen to the birds. But that's just sort of a narrative about love. But in love, there is no narrative. There are no words to express love. We are dissolved, we're gone in the love. And in presence is the same. Presence is love. In presence, there isn't a me and a you. There isn't a distance. There isn't an experience that I'm missing, and how can I get it, you see? So when you turn your attention to presence, the you that is turning its attention to presence is presence itself. Because this recollection of consciousness, of awareness comes to you. It doesn't come to you from your mind. It comes to you from awareness. It comes to your mind, but it doesn't come from your mind. So the recollection of presence, or of love, or of beauty, or of peace, or of just the transparency of being, comes to you from God, from the universe, from awareness, from the universal non-dual reality. And it comes to you, it has within it the message, here I am. It has in it God's message, hello, here I am, you see. So the more we celebrate the love, and the more we taste the love, which we are tasting right now, the more we are the love, we're feeling it. It's beyond the mind. The more we are how we are now together, the more love is going to come and knocking on your door whenever you leave it. It doesn't need to knock on your door when you don't leave it. It will come and knock on your door whenever you're taking a step away. It tells you, Holger, hello, where are you going? What are you pursuing? What is it you're looking for? Oh, something you experienced during meditation. Okay. It's going to tell you. He's going to tell you, here I am.
Yes. Some days ago, you spoke with Amna about getting over it. I mean, not to make a big deal out of things. And there is where I often just get lost in procrastination or distraction, doing things that are maybe not too important. And I don't see where like for example, today I worked for a client. It took me an hour, very focused work at the computer, but I procrastinated this 1 hour the last whole week. I mean, I always pushed it away. I didn't want to do it. And there it's always like it's really like kindergarten in me. So where I have to want to grow up a little bit just to do the things.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's, I mean, we all are familiar with that in a way, at least I am. When you are investigating peace and happiness, what you may notice is how you push it away. One of the ways in which we push it away is we have some narratives about a variety of things. I don't know exactly what in particular narrative you have about this work, but there is some sort of narrative about me, and to something that I don't like. If you really love it, you would do it. You wouldn't.
Sure.
So there is something that is sort of says no. This says no.
It's like going into the flow. I mean, it's kind of a deep work. I mean, where I just need to say no to so many things and just I am so easily distracted by things, especially at the computer. I mean, there's so many, it's like a maze. I mean, you can go there and then it's there.
Yes,
so many things.
I know. But there are some aspects of distractions that have an avoidance aspect to them. And there are some aspects of distraction which are just sort of innocent, distraction. And if the distraction is innocent, it should not have an impact on your work, or minimal impact on your work. It should not be disturbing. It should not be disturbing. So the disturbing aspect of the distraction, that is what you need to take a look at. There may be, I'm not saying that for sure because I don't know, that there is some dynamic within you, some narrative within you, vis-a-vis getting this done or doing this. And that narrative is falsehood. Why it is the falsehood? Because it's not happy. Anything that is not happy is a falsehood.
Wow, that's a good point.
So I would look in that direction, and in my case, whenever I found things like that, then I say my path has been, oh, I'm going to get it done now. I just go at it. I just do it. And I don't care which way it's going to go. I just do what I can, my best. And okay, fine. Boom. And it's amazing how much it opened. It is like, it surprises me at how much abundance and potential that flows through, that is liberated somehow. It's not personal, but it's somehow available and operating.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions?
Magdi, can you hear me?
Oui, Shiva, salut. Yes, I hear you, Shiva.
Salut, salut.
Ouais.
I'm sorry to join so late.
No problem.
And I just caught a bit of this happiness thing and contentment thing, which is the tail end of your sharing with Holger, I guess. Yeah. It's been sort of a bit of a rough ride over the last 3 days here because and I'm just going to give this as a little case study for the same sort of kind of, I get question. I don't know if it's a question, we'll see. As you know, as I had a flight ticket to go to Germany, and on the 14th of April, 13th of April, to see my mom, who has recently been in the ICU. She's 90. It's also her 90th birthday on the 18th of April. So it seemed to be really important to go. And despite my great distaste for the so-called sanitary measures, I thought I bite the bullet. I sit there in a plane and I go through the whole craziness. And there's like several factors which have happened. Among them, my dear friend Danielle in Paris, who I've spoken to. And I get a really full view of the insanity of the curfew, of the measures, of the way these poor people have to live. And then Germany, as always, is always number one in coming to organize and legalize and anyway, I don't want to go into that, but the measures in Germany are such that you actually need to spend a week in a quarantine hotel in order to get in at this point. This is sort of the newest law. The insanity of the laws is to the point that they're basically in Europe, that is, we're very lucky in America. In Europe, that they have changes in law every sort of week or so. There's a law in Spain, my dear friend Gundi, who lives close to Malaga, which forbids people to talk to each other in public transportation, despite the masks. I mean, we're really looking into absolute insanity, and people are exhausted and depressed to a degree I've not seen ever in all my friends and all my family, and nobody knows what to do and what is going to happen, and is it getting worse, and so with a very heavy heart, I prepared myself to talk to my mom about not going, because I don't see myself being in a sheep container for 35 hours and then arrive and spend basically a week in prison. I mean, whatever they call it. And while I was just sort of, emotionally preparing myself to talk to her about it and tell her that it feels impossible to come, she on her own said that she had an intuition which had been growing with her over the last 3 days, that she feels it's not the right moment for me to come. And, so here we are, and I know the whole thing is a dream, and, I find happiness within myself, and everything is one. But the so-called reality of my dearest friends and family, and the so-called reality of me not being able to actually go there, even though this, can be my mother's last year, or, I really wanted to go, is not creating happiness within me. And so this case scenario as just an example of something which seems to be way beyond, my little quote unquote personal trouble, or my, is it true? Is it untrue? Am I consciousness? Am I not consciousness? All these sort of like beautiful theoretical satsang questions. This is a very, very concrete moment of, okay, something is clearly wrong. And yes, I'm talking about duality, but having to live in situations like that, in conditions like that, losing your civil liberties, etc., I cannot say that's okay. And I can't find happiness within me when I'm exposed to that type of stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, a couple of things. First, in terms of the pandemic, hopefully with all the vaccinations, that seems to be sort of going in that direction, more and more vaccinations, I don't know worldwide, but in the States, and hopefully in Europe too, that there would be soon, whatever soon would be, a lifting or a relaxation of these measures.
Magdi, I have to jump in there. I can't listen to that, and especially not coming from you. You too dear a friend. I appreciate too much that vaccination thing is a pipe dream.
No, okay?
I
understand. And that's not. You're misunderstanding me. What I'm saying is that this hype dream that you say is as this is unfolding, that the consequence would be that the measures would be lifted. So the point that I'm making is that hopefully soon these measures of, you said a week on quarantine and other measures that are taking place in Germany or wherever, in the world, hopefully they will be lifted or not lifted, relaxed.
Hopefully.
Right. Yeah. So this is a point I want to.
That's hope. That's very realistic.
It seems that the world is interested in that direction because the cost of that's going on is too much. So that's one point. The other point I want to share with you is that your mom, because your mom, as you said, is now not feeling good, and she's quite elderly. So you have to outweigh within yourself the pain in the butt of the restrictions that are going on right now, as opposed to the possibility of not seeing your mom one more time before, because of her age. This is something.
It's more than a pain in the butt, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. I mean.
Okay. You have to wrap your head around that. They live very differently from us in the US. It's not the same.
I don't mean to diminish it.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that this is something that you have to find within yourself. I know that in my case, when my mom was passing, and I heard about her passing, and I could have been there. She was ill quite a little bit before that, and I could have been there a few days before. But I decided that no, she's still okay. I can see her later. When I found out that she's really in her last day, I drove up, and I arrived. She was already passed when I arrived, and I was okay with that. I was okay. So, and then never had any regrets. And so it's for you to determine, that balance between possibly not seeing her.
Yeah, Magdi, c'est bien sympa ce que tu racontes. Excuse-moi que je t'interrompe là. I'm saying whatever practical advice you just have given me is appreciated. I don't think you see the full picture, but I still appreciate it. But that's not why I brought this up. I brought this up as a question to you as a satsang teacher saying, or satsang sharer, that how can we manage to be happy in a case scenario like that? I'm very not happy. I'm very upset. And I feel like I would like to get an advice of how to transcend that.
Oh, okay.
Not practical advice of when I could go or what could happen. I know that, the elections are coming in Germany. It's possible that they leave us a 2 months of respite in the summer, but that doesn't change the scenario of us being like herded up into insanity.
Well, okay. About happiness, in my experience about happiness, is as long as you consider yourself, your ideas, your beliefs, your opinions, your feelings to be important, you are putting some conditions upon your happiness. And not just your happiness, the happiness of people around you as well.
Sorry, I didn't take the video off. Here we go.
Yeah. So when you have strong convictions, which you do, the world is unfolding whichever way it's unfolding. We have very little control over that. And so here you are. You have your convictions and you have the world unfolding. You are where you are, your mom is where she is, and there are all these things in the world that are unfolding, and you have your convictions. And of course, you feel strongly about them. Other people feel strongly about their convictions. And that's the freedom that we have. And everybody has their own way of justifying their convictions. And there is the dissonance theory, which you're very familiar with. I mean, I'm not going to talk about that, but that operates, within the human mind. So if you're talking about happiness, then you have to look at your convictions. Your convictions get in the way of your happiness.
Yes, but Magdi, I just want to really clear this out. I listened to you full-heartedly there, and this is not an unhappiness which comes from my convictions, which are very strong. I mean, convictions I wouldn't call it, but like what I call the bullshit detector factor in my life. Just sort of clear mind, open heart, see that some stuff doesn't add up and it doesn't make any sense. So on the subject of whatever our reaction to the so-called bad enemy, the virus is, but that's not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this real case situation where here's this guy who wants to see an old, possibly dying relative, and he cannot go. And that causes pain to everybody involved.
Right, but that's not unhappiness.
Okay, here we go again, splitting it by the hair. It's not unhappiness. What else is it?
May I butt in?
Yes, please do.
Thank you ever so much, Magdi. Hi, Shiva.
Hi there. Yes.
Hi, I'm a fellow non-dual author. I'm a friend of Magdi since many years, and it's my first time that I'm participating here.
Welcome.
So forgive me for butting in. I just wanted to say that I'm in the same boat as you are. In the other direction, I came over to tend to my dying father, and then the pandemic happened, and like you say, so much going on, and no viable way back. And at the time, it was choiceless because the love was so strong, and I didn't even think of any consequences for, what it would mean for the rest of my life. And I can feel with what you're saying, what just came from spirit to spirit, from heart to heart, is that the pain in you or the frustration about the situation is because your love for your mom is so, so strong. And what dear Magdi just described, that he luckily was fine, with her passing. And by the way, my condolences, Magdi. And that's very brave of you. And very spacious that you had peace with that. But it seems to me, Holger, that you are in that way like me, and you would not have peace with if you didn't see your mom again. And that that the lesson is that you, even though it's very complicated, much, but less so like in the case here, but that if you kind of overcome these aversions, that you and let your love, which so clearly shines through. I see your aura. I mean, your love for your mom. I don't think if she passed, you would be able to forgive yourself.
No, don't worry. It's very sweet what you say, Mary, Ella. I really appreciate your input, but that's not the case. It's all fine. I'm actually really fine, and okay. She's fine, and everybody's fine, and it's no drama. It's just really this very strong upsetting, and thank you for recognizing my love for her and her love for me. It's just really...
Shiva, I want to ask, what is the unhappiness? Because it's about the unhappiness is the main thing. Is that, what is the unhappiness?
I just find it insane that stuff is happening, Magdi. That we all quietly gobble it up and think it's the right thing to do and hope for some vaccination to make it easier. It's just beyond me. I can't get it. All my radar, all my intuition, I'm like,
can you
I'm on full alert.
Is it possible for you? Is it possible for you to perceive what is happening as, tsunami is a natural element, because of the earthquake. Consider, right. Is it possible that you can look at the situation as a psychological or a mental or a human tsunami? Well,
it is. Adolf Hitler was a human tsunami, and I'm German, and here we have the third dictatorship happening in Germany. It's happening, Magdi. The tsunami is rolling.
Okay, right. So when there is a tsunami that happens, in the ocean, we all feel the sorrow of that and how awful it is, right? We feel that.
No, we don't. It's like a tsunami which happens because of the force of nature. Here it is human ignorance, stupidity, and cruelty which causes the tsunami. Right, that's a difference.
But I invited you I posed a question, but I thought you answered it yes, but maybe you answered it no. So I am inviting you to look at this human, whatever you call it, ignorance, or as
tsunami, ça me va,
as a tsunami, which means it's impersonal. That's what I'm trying to point to invite you to look at.
My friend could hardly talk. My friend in Paris, he could hardly talk. These people live with a curfew at 6 o'clock in the evening since a year.
I understand that.
Mon cœur, tu sais, la compassion, quoi.
Women, there is also compassion when there is a natural element that happens and 100,000 people get killed. The question is, you are because you are perceiving a person, that somebody's doing wrong, this government, these people are doing wrong, and so on.
I don't give a shit about the stupid government. What I'm seeing is the suffering of the people.
Well,
that's what I'm seeing. Who the hell did it and why they did it? I don't even want to go there anymore.
The suffering of people is different from having an awful situation. Suffering is different from having a very awful situation. Suffering is the result of resistance or seeking. Maybe we're using the word differently. When you say, no. You know, unhappiness is a different thing from what you are describing.
No, I totally understand. For you and me, this might be working, and everybody here in this beautiful group. But for most people, they just suffer when stuff is not happening for them, or when they're restricted, or like that. I don't know. You know, it's like.
All right. Well, you know, suffering is as old as a human race.
Yeah. How long are we gonna play that stupid song? It's time to wake up. It really is. And I have a hard time assisting and witnessing it. That's it. I'm not suffering, Magdi. I'm going to be perfectly fine. I might be angry and upset coming across like that right now, but I have a beautiful life. I'm okay. And even not going to see my mom, I know it's going to be okay. But I'm just really asking myself the question, till when? And what's going to be the boiling over point? When are we going to stand up and do something? When are we going to wake up? I mean, everybody's concerned of their little problems. And basically everybody's just sitting there saying, oh, it's going to get better. We're going to get back to normal. Oh, the vaccination, that's going to be the savior, whatever, you know? And meanwhile, it's getting worse and worse. It's not getting better at all.
But Shiva, you assume that there is a doer deciding.
I know I don't assume anything, Holger. I love you, but I don't assume that.
I love you. I love you too. And just remember, Jesus came to my mind, hanging at the cross with all the cruelty humanity did to him, and saying, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing.
Yes, I know.
Remember, and you are in the same place right now.
Oh yeah, no,
you
it's like Jesus hood.
No, not Jesus. It's just a pointer to awareness. That's all.
You're right. You're right.
So keep it fun a little bit.
It's been so incredibly upsetting and so incredibly sad. And the thing is, I get like.
But to whom? Reports. Only to your little me. Only to your little me.
No bullshit, Holger, not to my little me. I'm listening to friends who are not well, okay, for hours on end, who live in curfew, who have no right to travel to see their friends, okay? From Paris, you can't even go to south of France. It's verboten, okay? You're stuck in your apartment. You have the right to move for 1 mile in a radius. We have no idea in America what that is.
So Shiva, what is the difference between somebody who is in the situation that you're describing, who is okay with it,
right,
and somebody who is in this situation like this and who's having a hell of a time with it?
Right. No, I totally hear you. What happened with me is that I saw my friend, who is my lifelong friend, and he could hardly talk. He was so exhausted.
Okay, so maybe because you talk to your friend, you're feeling his misery right now, his unhappiness, and it's sort of, you know, you're feeling it, so you're expressing that.
That's the perfect word, misery.
And I understand what you are saying, but one can be in this situation, in that same situation, and be okay, and one can be in a situation and be up the walls.
Right, I hear you.
So, yes, I mean, sometimes people say, oh, maybe you have this and that, and that's why you're happy. No, I mean, and I'm not saying, just saying words. No, there is a happiness. There is a peace and happiness. There is, I don't know what the words are. There is there is a way where we are experiencing a situation, but the boat is not rocked.
Right.
And
you know what, Magdi? One thing I want to say, and you might not believe that right now, but I can tell you from my heart that my boat is not rocked.
I understand. I get you. I understand.
And yet I am super upset.
Je comprends, because you see, it could be that you have such a transparency with your friends or with people who are just going bonkers, that you are feeling that way. And so it's a flow that's coming through you because of the transparency of consciousness. You are sensing that, you see.
Yes, exactly.
In my case, I am aware of that. And I'm not sensing the disarray. Somehow it's not like I don't care. It's not like that. It's not like, oh, I don't care. Oh, people don't have food to eat, the hell with them. No, not at all. Not at all. And the way we are can be helpful to your friend. You can be with your friend, not so much in the talking. It's more you can be with your friend in a way that is helpful for him. Because, like when we realized that there was no way around Hitler, we got to war. We went to war, and a lot of people got killed and lost.
That's such a sweet little interpretation of history. But I mean, yes, let's say that's the official version. Yeah. We did something about it because we couldn't do anything else. Yes. Mm-hmm.
At some point, I'm saying that there is an action that you can take, and there are actions that you cannot take. Like right now, you, Shiva, cannot reverse whatever, you cannot. But maybe there will be a point, maybe next month, I don't know, there will be people who will form an army and reverse the rules in Germany. But what is available to you is to be at peace with your friend, and to be at peace to not just be at peace, to be a conduit for the peace, conduit, not just, oh, I'm at peace, oh, okay, fine, groovy. No, you're the conduit of peace because you are interacting with people.
I feel that I'm always a conduit. I guess I could say I'm always at peace, even if it doesn't manifest as peace.
No, I'm not talking about pure peace. I'm talking about being conduit of peace, where in your relationship with your friend experiences is.
Oh no, we had a beautiful conversation, Magdi. I got the information through he wasn't complaining. He's too strong a guy to do that.
You were so active. You were so activated.
Well, je suis, comme on dit en français, à fleur de peau. I have this very strong, intuitive ability to detect what is going on emotionally and intellectually.
There is a difference between things flowing through you and things coming to you, and then they amass, they build up.
Right.
Ils se développent au point où tu es à fleur de peau. They build up. Is it to be the flow?
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I totally get it. It's really very valuable what you say. I mean, this is definitely a point. I feel like I gotta trust this more. Like whatever it is needs to trust itself more and just let it constantly through instead of like. But you know what? It was like it just happened all in one day. I had this 2-hour conversation with Paris. I had this long thing with Malaga in Spain. And then I had my mother, and I'm like, I cannot believe this is the reality these people are living in. It just sort of like hit me completely all in like a sequence. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like I had a lot of time to digest anything.
Right.
I mean, it was like bang, bang, bang at your door.
Right.
And then the next thing is I call Lufthansa and I cancel the flight. It all happened within 5 hours, you know? So I was like, fuck, you know?
Sometimes I have a similar situation where, you know, people will call me from work, and one person will call me about their problem, and a few minutes later somebody else calls me about their view, and then it inflames, and
right
I end up making the wrong decision.
Well, yes, sometimes we do, but in that case it was not even a decision I could make. It was just everything did itself, basically, you know. I was like, the universe conspired to like nick that trip project in the butt, and it's okay, you know. It's okay. I mean, for me there's no problem. Like it was just sort of the whole question when I tuned into the satsang about the more love you give, the more love you receive, and that kind of thing. You are the environment is you, and sort of like, you know what I mean? I know that you didn't say this in this sort of positive thinking American self-help kind of idea of, you know, and you're right, you know, it's like, it's really important to truly deeply connect to the peace and the love that we are, despite any circumstances. And this is really what you called in another conversation transcending, and you're absolutely 100% right. It's just like there's moments when there's these they call it granties in yoga. It's energetic knots. When you have these sort of like accumulations of something, I guess, and your advice of letting it through piece by piece.
Sometimes it's not so much what we say or what we hear, but how we express and how we listen.
Mm-hmm. So true.
So much, it's not so much the content, but the quality in the sharing and in the listening.
Merci. Thank you so much.
Okay, Siva. I hope that your mom is okay.
No, she's fine. She's so great. I mean, she's so beautiful, really. She's amazing. For her to come up with it herself, I was just, you know, it just shows me to what point our relationship has grown into a spiritual, loving, wonderful connection. Beautiful. I mean, I could have cried, you know. I was so thankful. So, and I'm very thankful to you.
Well, that's nice the way the universe, you know, came through your mom to also give you a little break here, yeah?
Yep, absolutely. On se parle peut-être plus tard. Hein?
Très bien.
Ciao, ciao. Merci. Bye. Ciao, everybody. And thank you for your sharing, Marianne and Holger. Bye.
Sure, you're welcome. And you made a very valid point, which is a great gift also in this life here, because all my friends are experiencing exactly what you just described. And it caused unnecessary suffering by having too much compassion over the last few weeks. It was just surreal. And I think the point you brought up about that right now we need to trust the goodness of ultimate reality, of awareness of what really is, more than ever, despite all the appearances. That's something that I will take on board. And I thank you both very much for that. Namaste.
Okay.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Amna.
So, I want to ask a question that is not related to what you guys were talking about.
Okay.
Your picture is not showing up. Let's see. For me, there. Okay. So I've been processing this in terms of like I notice like people around me who go on like medication and their whole personality changes. and also like when we take certain substances and our moods change and the way that we show up change. And also like in terms of, so that, and then also like happiness. Like, cause and we've talked about this before. Like, I tend to think that happiness is a state.
Yes. No.
Is a positive state.
Right. Happiness is not a state of mind. It is, one could say, that to which a state of mind appears. But happiness is not at the level of the body-mind. It can appear in the mind as wisdom, as feeling, non-confusion, clarity. It can appear in the body as transparency, as vastness, as peace, as freedom. It can appear in the world as harmony, beauty. But no, happiness is not a state of mind. And when you think of happiness, there is in happiness nothing lacking. Nothing lacking. When you are missing something, meaning something is lacking, you don't feel complete. So you need that thing to feel happy. But in happiness is nothing lacking. So happiness is the absence of lack.
So that seems like a state of mind.
Well, it can manifest in the mind. Can manifest in the mind as no desire, absence of desire. So when you look at the mind, you will find happiness as the absence of desire. Absence of desire is connected with there isn't a subject and an object. Whenever there is a subject and an object, the relationship is separate. When I say the subject, there is only one subject. In our experience, there's only one subject, which is I. Right? Whenever I am a subject in relation to an object, there is desire.
Okay,
So in the mind, when how happiness appears in the mind or manifests in the mind is as wholeness, nothing lacking, nothing. There's no that the objects do not relate to a subject. For example, I perceive a table, I perceive a wall, I perceive whatever I perceive. It is not in separation to the subject, to I, consciousness. It is all I. So it's completely fulfilled, it's complete fulfillment. So you could say that in the mind, there is nothing missing, nothing lacking. So you could say, okay, it is a state of mind. But you could also say that in the world, I am the world. So you could say it's a state of the world, that I, my body, my being is the entire world.
Can you rewind? I didn't catch that. If you, you said you could say it's a state of mind, or you could say it's a state of the world.
Yes, you could say it's a state of the mind or a state of the body. So at the mind level, there are no objects. There isn't a subject and an object. That's at the mind level. At the body world level, the relationship with the world, the entire world is myself. The entire world is my body. So in happiness, there isn't a separation between my body and the world. I am the world. The world is myself.
Is that the experience of just relaxing and experiencing the world as friendly? Is that the experience?
In relaxation, the limitations that we usually experience in the body, the sense of me, is relaxed. It is more thinner. It's thinner. In relaxation, the body is less dense. It's more more transparent. But it's not complete transparency. So relaxation is not the complete happiness, but it is the direction, the right direction. So when we say relax, when, for example, a woman is giving birth, we say, okay, between contractions, relax, breathe. When people are tense, we give them a massage, we tell them relax, and so on. So their body moves in the direction of more flexibility, less rigidity. So, but if you are relaxing, it's still at the body level, but it's in the good direction.
Okay, so going back to
a mind state. A mind state is a state that has beginning and ending. All states have a certain dimension. They can change.
So happiness is what is already here.
No, happiness,
like the awareness,
is not a state in that there's no beginning and ending to happiness. There is a beginning and ending to a certain mind state, a certain experience, but not to happiness.
Because it already is, right? Is it like only a mind state takes us out of that, or only identification takes us out of that? But it already is the way it is?
Yeah, you could say that happiness is causeless. It does not have a cause. So it is in an absolute sense.
So, and Mary wrote this as well, which was my question also. Like, so happiness is synonymous with awareness.
Yes, you could say that happiness and awareness, yeah, they're not different.
Okay.
In that they are both absolute, meaning they're causeless, and they are not a phenomenal. They're not experiences of the mind or of the body, although they can express themselves, they can shine onto the body and onto the mind. They do not arise from the body or from the mind. Like the moon does not shine because it is the sun that shines. But yet the moon shines because of the sun shining onto it. So the body and the mind are affected by happiness. Now, happiness and awareness and peace and freedom and beauty are absolute, meaning they're not the result of thinking, they're not the result of a cause. There isn't a cause to them. They are absolute. And reality is absolute, meaning in our experience, irrespective of what we experience, there is something, there is a reality, which is something rather than nothing, which we refer to as reality. And in our experience of this reality, because we have direct experience of this reality, it is an experience of I awareness, I presence awareness, being knowingness. And when you look at being knowingness, you find that it's absolute. At the mind level, that which is absolute has no opposite. And therefore, there aren't two. There is one, it's one. And oneness is at the mind level, and in our human experience, we refer to as love. When there is love, or experience love, we are experiencing this oneness, this non-duality, not two. And because consciousness is absolute, there is nothing outside of it. There is nothing that is lacking. So at the mind level also, we experience this wholeness, this reality as peace, meaning the absence of lack, or happiness, the absence of desire. You cannot have happiness and desire simultaneously, because desire is an activity to fulfill that which is lacking. So the aspects of peace, happiness, and freedom, of course, in that there are no barriers, there are no lines. It's like a horse that can run on the entire earth freely, the freedom, no barriers. So the aspects of peace, freedom, wisdom, happiness, love are, one could say, aspects of that one reality.
Okay. So I'm having the thought that like we experience, like even like the moments when I experience happiness and love and all that, like there are moments I experience that, it's just that in those moments I'm not identified.
Right.
Okay.
There is no identification in love. In love, you are the love. In happiness, you are the happiness. In peace, you are the peace. In freedom, you are the freedom. There is no identification, because any identification is with an object. And love has no object. Happiness has no object. Freedom, joy has no object. When you are in love, you have lost your mind. You know the expression, I've lost my mind. I'm in love, I lost my mind. Meaning you've lost your sense of separation, as it's more better to say. I lost my sense of separation. Because in love, there is no separation. You don't need to be with your partner or your friend when you're in love, because you're never apart from them. You could be with them physically, or not. In love, it does not matter.
And would you say something about how people change, like when they're on medication?
Oh.
Something about that like confuses me.
Well, it depends on the medication. Medications they have effect on the functioning of the brain and functioning of the various organs. And
yeah, so it's like people who take like medications
yes.
for psychological.
Yeah, you know, there. As long as you are identified with the body, whatever impacts the body mind, if you're identified with the person, whatever impacts the body mind impacts you, because you are identified with the body, so you are this body mind. So whatever impacts, if you drink too much, or you are tired because you climb a mountain or whatever, it impacts you, not just the body. It impacts you. So in terms of
you as awareness?
No, it impacts you as awareness identified as a person.
Okay.
You are identified.
Okay.
So it impacts, in fact, awareness is never impacted, because identification is a mind. It's not real. Like when you are dreaming that you are a butterfly, it's not real. I know you feel 100% you're a butterfly, but it's not real. So, but yet we have to talk about identification, because it's not enough to say, okay, it's not real, you see. You have to understand that what it means to be identified. When you are identified with the body, everything that happens to the body, everything that happens to the butterfly, you feel is happening to you because you are the butterfly. I know that in fact there is no butterfly, but you are identified. Consciousness has identified itself with the butterfly, with the body mind. You see, but now you are the butterfly. And so if you take medication, meaning if the butterfly takes medication, it's in the dream, because the medication is also dream medication. Not just the butterfly is the dream, but also the medication that the butterfly is taking is dream medication.
So one second. So just like in this analogy, it would be the butterfly, like people around her, like some people, like her best friend, is taking a medication, and that butterfly is changing.
All the butterflies in the dream are dream butterflies, and all the medications or all the flowers that they are going to get the nectar, they are also dream flowers. But the point here is that in terms of your question about happiness and the medication, as long as there is identification, whether the impact of the medication is positive on the body or negative on the body, it has nothing to do with happiness. You are unhappy all along, irrespective of whether you are experiencing a very good medication that has zero negative effect and 100% positive effects, or whether you're experiencing a medication that has 80% negative effects and 20% positive effects. As long as you are identified, as long as you have not engage on the path, you are subject to conditions. You experience yourself as being somebody existing in time and space. And as long as you're experiencing yourself as somebody in time and space, already you are doomed. Already, right before medication, before you are the perfect athletes, you have the perfect body, the perfect athlete, beautiful, 0% fat and beautiful height and balance and whatever, beautiful. Right from the onset, already you are doomed. Because ignorance is on board, identification is on board. You are identified with the body. So you feel wonderful. But in 30 years or 40 years, or there's a car accident, and you something happens to your body, boom, like that. You have flipped from this very beautiful body, very healthy body, to a very hurted body and painful body, etc. And you experience that this has happened to you. And you will experience great, maybe depression. So the thing to really understand is that our conversations are always about happiness. They're about realizing that that which you are is not that which you perceive or imagine or feel yourself to be. That which you are is this transparent, aware presence that doesn't belong to the body, doesn't belong to the mind, doesn't belong to it, that has no, is non-phenomenal. It's not something that somebody can own or control, or it is the one reality, the reality of I. That this is what you need to comprehend, that which speaks is that which hears, is this one reality. There aren't numerous realities. And when you refer to I, it is very important to have a clarity that what you are referring to is this transparent, aware presence. And the body-mind appears to you like the weather appears to you, like a sensation or a thought or an image. And in every moment, whatever appears to you carries the information which pertains to the body-mind, the world body-mind. And that as the wholeness, as consciousness, you respond in the moment out of the reality of love, of beauty, of happiness, of the flow. You respond in a harmonious way. And you respond out of your freedom, and there is a deep understanding that there is never anything at stake in this dream existence. That which is real is never at stake. And so the world the body and the mind is in a way your playground. You play in the playground, but you are not the character. You're not the character in the playground. You are the entire playground. You are all the butterflies and all the flowers, and all, you are the entire, realm. And at the same time that you are the entire realm, you also are playing this local aspect. So there's a local aspect to your totality. So there is your totality and there is this local aspect. And the local aspect is called Magdi, Amna, Mary, John, Tara, Shiva. It goes by all the names. It's by all the names. Like in the ocean, every wave across billions of waves across the ocean, they go by the same name, water or ocean. And the fact that there is a particular local level, which we refer to as mind, is not an issue. It's your particular aspect, seemingly. But the key thing to understand is that the particular aspect that appears to you, the you, and the particular aspect that appears to me, the me and the you are the same. This is why why would I get angry at you? Because you is me. But when I don't have that understanding, then you are the bad and I am the good. Well, in most cases, that's how I played it. I used to play the game. Oh, what did they do to me? Look what she did to me.
A couple of days ago, I've been like more active at home, but I haven't been receiving like thank you or salam alaikum or like I haven't received that. But then when my brothers come, like they get a lot of that. So I was like telling my mom, like, how come? She's like, because you're a part of me. Like I'm not like I experience you as me, and I'm not used to saying thank you to me.
To myself, right?
Yeah, but like that was really, I don't know, like it was really healing. Like it sounded similar to what you were just saying. Like, why would I get mad at you when you and I are the same? Yes. And
yes, but still I think that I like to express my appreciation, even though Tara is my very self. There is no separation. I love to express my gratitude to her and how.
Yeah, I tell her to express it too.
Yes.
I like to hear it.
Right.
I'm like, well, you should get used to like saying thank you to yourself. Like,
right. Maybe you have to write a little sticker. You say it says say thank you. You put it in her face. Say thank you.
Well, we have a siren too. This one over here, this mouth. Like, what about me? You're not gonna say thank you or anything. But
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. Well, very lovely to be with you all. Holger, thank you, and Amna, Gloriana. Maureen, hello, Maureen. Nice to see you and connect with you. Shiva, Kelly, John, and Frank. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Oh, Kelly. Yes. Hello, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Magdi, and everybody. It was a pleasure. It was beautiful.
Peace all.
Yeah. Namaste.
Thank you very much.